So, thinking back to your venue sales, so if you took some of that approach, it seems to me that it all comes back to knowing your customer, knowing their needs, knowing what their goals are, knowing what the goals of the event are. Um, if we know all of that, if we look at venue sales specifically, because some of our members are managing venues, how does a venue stay competitive and top of mind? So once you've already established all of the differentiating factor, but how do you keep on top of that sale?
I think it's really you touched on it, Mike, briefly when you said it's really knowing your customer. It's that relationship selling, and every venue has something unique. I remember back to my days on the meeting planning side, and we used to have vendor days on every other Wednesday where vendors would be able to come in and schedule appointments in half-hour slots with us throughout the morning. And my rule of thumb to my staff was, if you're in the office and you're not working on a project that you're leaving the next day for, the expectation is you'll come in and listen. And we had great turnout, but it was interesting that you would get some sales folks that came in that were talking about the recent renovation they did to their hotel. And we've got new beds and bedspreads and linens, and we've got a great new restaurant, and you would hear the mumblings of, do you have hot and cold running water too? And we've got new hair dryers and new irons and ironing boards in the room, and that's not differentiating selling. That's basic stuff. So talk about where you're located. Talk about the environment you're in. What are you close to? What's the immersion experience that you're helping your customer co-create for their attendees? And it's not just about, listen, if you don't have those minimum standards at this point, then you're in a different market niche, and you have to find what works in that market niche for the customer that you're going after, because not everybody is a 5-star, 5-diamond experience that they're looking for. There are many clients that look for that 2- and 3-star experience because they have that budget to sustain that, not the 5-star budget. So you want to make sure that you're aware of what you're delivering in your area, and look at what that local community can offer that will help that experience sell. It's not just about your venue and specifically to your product. It's where you sit in the big chasm of everything else.
And I'm thinking here as you're talking about reminiscing to the old days, and one of the hot topics, one of the hot topics right now is, well, the commissions. But let's not talk about commissions,
No.
because people have talked about that a lot. What about negotiating with venues? I know that you've spoken on the topic of negotiation in the past. Has the negotiation tactics or the terms of negotiation, has that changed over the years?
When you speak about negotiation, we all learned how to negotiate as babies. And you think of the infant that cries when they need the bottle, or has needs for changing a diaper or something like that. The infants and the toddlers always run up with their arms outstretched when they need something. And that's the very early initial stage of how we learn how to negotiate, because they tell us their need and we're delivering on it. And I think it just goes back to understanding what it is that there's the saying that you're leaving money on the table. And to that, sometimes we oversell a product. And instead of really listening to what it is that's important for our customer and honing in on those, we go back to that word of honing in, keying in on what the customer is actually looking for, and trying to offer value add. People have to realize that commodities go up each year. And if you're following anything in the market, you look at what, this whole situation we've had here in the States with the egg recall and the salmonella and the romaine lettuce and things like that. Those will drive prices up from the distributor to the property level, which means that you, by paying attention or being in communication with your executive chef, with your conference services manager, with your catering manager, your banquet manager, whatever it may be, you want to try and do a couple of tricky things, which is marry a menu to another group that might be in-house, because the cost of purchase can be a little cheaper. But you want to look for items that are going to be cost effective for you to deliver on a food and beverage cost item, on food and beverage deliverables. If you're looking at the high-priced items or the things that commodity charges are going up in, that's going to be a pass-through cost to you. So if you're looking for savings, try and, communication is the key. If you're open in your dialogue and say, look, we can't blow the budget on this dinner. I want to know, what else do you have? What's available right now in your market? What's seasonal there? What's coming in? What looks good for our time of year that's happening that could be cost effective yet deliver the experience and be good?
So is there a hot item that people are negotiating in or out of contracts these days?
I think that the hot item is all regional and geographic.